First and foremost, I definitely want to thank you all for being here today. Stefania, I'm familiar with you as the lead singer of the band. Morgan, John, and Sebastian. Oh, I
Yeah, you
remembered
got it.
everybody's name today, man. I am awesome. Don't ask me to tell. Don't ask me to try to guess what instruments or what part of the band you guys are in. So you guys have to remind me what part of the band you guys, what role you guys play outside of obviously Stefania is the lead singer.
So I'm the lead singer. I also write, record, play a bunch of instruments. Jean Christian and I both mix, record, master. We do a lot of the engineering and the producing together. Yeah, kind of an everything woman.
Everything woman. So I know you guys are a fully independent band, and we'll kind of probably get into some of those more questions in here in a little bit about like who kind of touches what and a little bit of how the magic is made with the music. But Morgan, can you remind me what you do in the band, my friend?
Yeah, so I'm the guitar player. Kind of like outside of the band, everybody plays guitar. In the band, everybody plays guitar, but I'm the main face of the guitar. And then, as far as the songwriting goes, it's pretty collaborative. So I have, I'll contribute. We'll write most of the songs in the same room as a group, just kind of like brainstorming. And even the guitar parts, it's besides riffs that people have come ready-made for us to like kind of build off. Even the riffs that I write in the songs are influenced by suggestions of people in the room during the recording. So it's pretty collaborative. But yeah, I'm the face of the guitar.
Awesome. That's cool. It's one thing I've noticed like in a lot of bands where like there's more than one person that knows how to play guitar, and so like seeing some of the influences of like, hey, like maybe if you try to make it do it this way or sound that way, like I'm sure like in that group setting, it's probably just really awesome to just kind of hear everybody's thoughts and opinions, especially when everybody is a little bit more familiar with the instrument that you're also playing. So
It's a really collaborative songwriting sort of thing. Like, when we're writing different parts, we will suggest like, oh, what if you try it like this, or what if you try it like this, and kind of we bounce back and forth with ideas. Our philosophy of writing music is not to never to serve the ego of the musicians. The idea is serve the song. What does the song need? And if there's a part that's an awesome part, but like it's not making the song better, it's like drawing too much attention to it, we cut it, So that's why we try to be collaborative with the way we write songs. Usually like how it works is one person will bring a shell of a song, the basic idea with various levels of development. And then from there, like we'll just bring it to the rest of the band and they'll contribute ideas and it'll just kind of grow and take on its own life from there.
Awesome. So you and Sebastian, if I remember correctly, you guys are siblings, correct?
Yep.
And
And Stefania. We're all three siblings.
Oh, so you three are the ones who are the siblings. Yeah, because I had saw and read something about that there was a group of siblings in the band, so I wasn't really sure who was all tied to, related that way. So when it comes to the sibling side of the band, right? Is it something that you guys have always like talked about before you guys ever got anybody else involved? Can you guys like walk me through a little bit of like kind of how that happened and who the other members of the band were and how you guys kind of got all that together?
Yeah, I kind of forced my brothers into my band. They were very reluctant at first.
And that was like 14 years ago.
Yeah, we were kids. I was a teenager when Shrink the Giant. Yeah. When Shrink the Giant started. It's funny because like Jean Christian and I shared a piano teacher. So we went to the same piano teacher for years, every single week. Winston Lee, shout out Winston. He taught us how to compose music, which I think is extremely unusual. We're classically trained pianists. I played French horn all through even up through college. Jean Christian played clarinet. Sebastian is a violinist first and foremost. So I think it's kind of unusual to have like a classical music background for more of an alt or rock band. But yeah, we grew up playing music together and doing like piano recitals, violin recitals and stuff. And so when the band started and I was trying to like force my friends into it and they were dropping out, I was like, hey, I have a show coming up. You have to come play with me. They rolled their eyes at first. And then I think it was on our first tour that it was Sebastian that was with us on the tour. And he noticed how people were responding and like how when the pieces came together, we became larger than the sum of the parts. And like this very radiant connective energy that was happening, and we were connecting with people all over, and it was just larger than life. And I think that's when Sebastian was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not lame to be in my sister's band.
Well, I mean, I never thought of it that way specifically. Well, I did think of it as my sister's band, but I was like, it wasn't my thing. It just didn't seem like it was like not something I wanted to do at first. Yes, until that experience where you see how it all works on the street and how people react, and I was like, this is absolutely worth doing. This is very fun. I love what this is doing for people.
Have you guys had a consistent lineup outside of obviously like, you know, you guys being related? Has the rest of the band always been the same members, or has it kind of changed over time?
Changed a lot.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
So when Stefania started the band, it was with a guy from our high school named Aaron Hurt, and he was the guitarist, and he worked with Stefania, and also my dad, who's the manager of the band.
You can see those two, Stefania and Aaron, on the first album cover.
Yeah, so they were principally the band members.
Yeah, we were a duo, and then we brought people in to play with us, and then those people started becoming more core members. Yeah, I forced my brothers into it, but it still felt like, yeah, Stefania and Aaron were the band.
Yeah.
And then by the second album, it felt more like, no, this is like a larger thing. And it's a little bit the joke. We're kind of like Spinal Tap. We've had drummers like spontaneously combust. We had one just turn into like a pile of goo on the drum throne. That was really devastating.
Well, if your drummer keeps eating Taco Bell, he might combust too.
Exactly. Death by Taco Bell. That's going to be
that.
That's the fate of our current drummer.
We lost one to Taco Bell.
You know, as long as I think he doesn't mix the beans in with like the nacho cheese, I think we're okay. Lucky, because all of these people have been wonderful, and I don't think we've had any like, you know, harsh partings of ways. It was just people came, and then it was time to move on. And but I would say the current lineup of the band is musically the most aligned that we've ever been, and I think that's why what we're making now feels so good to us, and I think it's so joyful for us, but it's also resonating really well with other people because like I said earlier, we have not just the siblings in the band, but all of us are like musicians, you know, we're multi-instrumentalists. We're all classically trained. Morgan was a flute performance major. Alec was I think world percussions major. So he's not just like a guy that plays drums. He's a percussionist, and he plays guitar and bass and sings and does all sorts of, like, all of us do so many things, and we speak the same language on such a resonant level that when we are writing, again, there is no ego in it because we're just kind of speaking this language. And like Sebastian might pick up the mandolin, and then Morgan might like start plunking something out on the piano, and then Alec might start, you know, hitting a beat where he might pick up a guitar or a bass. And like, I feel like we all just are tapping into this language that we all speak. And so the current lineup of the band, I think, has really allowed us to like really rise to the level of artistry that I think we've all been seeking throughout our lives and throughout the history of the band.
I think that's actually really amazing because I feel like that it's really translatable to the audience, as you know, the fans, from the fans' perspective is, you know, when I hear you guys say stuff about like, you know, your background of the instruments that you play, you know, the kind of musicians that you are, and then like the fact that you guys are so consistent with that message about like, it's not about the individual artist ego, it's about what the song needs, and and we're all on that same page. And I feel like that really translates like to what you guys are creating, because I think that when you take all of those things that you guys talked about together, again, I feel like you feel that through the music. There's it's hard to explain, but like the way I describe it on my channel is I like to call it the spicy chicken, right? That somebody's putting a little seasoning on the bland chicken, right? And so I feel like that's exactly what you guys are doing, is like you're just the seasoning to me is all that extra little TLC. It's all that extra little, like, just paying attention, making sure that it's not just okay, that it's where it needs to be. And I hear that when you guys say, like, we're not serving egos, we're making the music what it needs to be. And I feel like that really translates well. And I feel like what's awesome about your guys' music, especially with the different backgrounds that you guys have, is like each song is its own thing, where it could have an array of sounds that the next one might not have. It might have a whole completely different array of sounds, but it all just sounds so, like, there's so much TLC in it, you know what I mean? Where I feel like you guys put that time and effort into each song and everything that you guys are doing, and I feel like that just really shows a lot to, especially from the audience's perspective. We feel and see all the love and time that you guys put into this music, so it definitely feels that way from our perspective as the fans.
Thank you.
Thank you. That, I mean, I can't even tell you just how satisfying and how much that means to hear that, people are picking up on that. Because I feel like in our modern age, in our algorithm driven age, we're seeing a lot of quantity over quality. And to me, quality just means quality, I think, translates from passion. And we're so deeply passionate about getting it right, to our own sensibilities. I can't even tell you how many like tweaks of like just our mixes there are. Some of our tracks, I think We're Both Idiots has 220 tracks on it.
Something like that.
All of the layers and the pieces and the details. I think again on Idiots, it was like 6 separate vocal tracking sessions, because I wanted to be able to tap into this part of my voice for this part of the song and this part of my voice for that part, and just the layers and like adding the harmonies. And yeah, I think as artists, we are just so deeply committed to craft and again, attuning to our own sensibilities of what's the right completion of the song and making sure that we all agree on that. So it really means a lot to hear that all of that work and all of that care, that tenderness, that the preciousness that we have, not just for our songs, but also for our music videos and like the worlds that we're building for each song. It just feels so good to hear that that is translating and that people are connecting to that, because I think that's the whole goal. It's like attune to our own sensibilities and make stuff that we love. And in doing that, it's going to resonate with other people.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that I love the most about your guys' band is that you get like different vibes and different feelings and emotions from song to song. So it's like, depending on the kind of mood that you're kind of feeling and the kind of what you want in that moment, you can go to X song, and then you can go to a whole different vibe, right? I was listening to you guys' music this morning, and I was listening to Slow Ride, right? Your guys' new song. Love the overall, like, Slow Lane, my bad. Slow Ride.
You're good.
Slow Lane.
It's a slow
lane. It is a slow ride in the slow lane, you know what I mean? But it's Slow Lane. I'm pretty terrible about song names. But it's just like this smooth little like journey that you're going on. It just makes you feel happy when you listen to it. I love that vibe. And then like the next one that popped up was like had like this little bit of like punk rock energy to it, you know what I mean, where it was like a whole different vibe, but it was like it still feels the same coming from you guys. So it's not some like huge drastic differences. It all kind of like feels like it falls into like the same kind of like vibe of what you guys kind of create. But you guys also are kind of in this unique position where one song could have a bunch of classical instruments in it, and the other one could just have a little bit more of like this little rocky kind of like tone to it. So it's just really kind of however you guys are feeling in the moment. So I think that's really awesome. When you guys go into like the songwriting process, is there mainly like one person that kind of has, hey, this is the concept, or is it more like, hey, I want to write like when you guys went to go write like Slow Lane, right? like, where did the original idea come from? Was it someone coming in saying, hey, I want to write this kind of feeling or about this kind of day? Like, can you, I know it probably changes a lot, but is it always Stefania coming to the room, or is it always John Mark, or is it Morgan saying, hey, I listened to some song yesterday, like, we should do something like that?
I'm going to just show you the exclusive of this. This is where Slow Lane came from. I'm driving on I-15 in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's like rush hour traffic, and everybody, like the left lanes are super clogged up because everybody's trying to go fast, and because they're like trying to go faster, they are clogging each other up and they're going slower. And I'm over here going 50 miles per hour in the slow lane, looking over at this absolutely breathtaking sunset and acknowledging that by chilling in the slow lane and going slower, I'm going to reach my destination sooner than everybody else. And it was just this little moment. This is an exclusive. I found this recording yesterday. This is where Slow Lane came from. See if you can...
FJ by now.
Can you hear that?
Why you gotta move so fast, baby?
It's changed a bit.
It's changed quite a bit, actually. And then I have the next version of it, like 2 days later, where I brought this little recording. It goes on, and I'm like, driving in the slow lane, which we kind of have that little vocal riff going on there. So then the very next day on my voice recordings, I have our jam session where I was like, I have this idea. I want to write a song about the slow lane. And then we came together, and that song actually came together really seamlessly. Sometimes a song takes like weeks or months or even a year or longer to like we get one piece and then we get roadblocked on it. But Slow Lane came together really seamlessly, where it was this kind of the bones of it existed, this concept, and then we put the pieces together. And yeah, it was very collaborative in pulling the sounds together. But so yeah, Slow Lane was one that I brought to the table. But like, We're Both Idiots started with a riff from Morgan.
That was our absolute most collaborative song. We're Both Idiots. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you have someone that brings a song and they're kind of the director of it. It's their movie. It's their, and they know the direction, and then you are allowed, people jump in and they're like, oh, this part, and they're like, oh, great, that adds. How about this part? That adds. Great. But
we'll
there's still kind of that direction.
Yeah, we'll use the director of the song if somebody has like a really solid concept. Or
but again,
Idiots, yeah.
Idiots was really just like, here's a piece, and then everyone like hears it, and then their own brain imagines what's next. They write a part, we present it, it goes in the recording, and if it just stays in the recording, then we don't get rid of it, It's like we just keep adding parts.
Yeah, we're big on scratch tracks. We're big on like anything goes. It's write drunk, edit sober. That's kind of the philosophy.
I love it.
We're always sober when we're actually writing, but it's the concept of like anything goes. Like, let's not be critical when we're writing stuff. Like, just put the idea in, and even if everybody's not jiving with it right away, like, lay it down, put the track in. We can always mute it, we can always get rid of it later, but it might inspire something. So yeah, all those pieces coming together. And again, I think the language that we've really kind of learned to speak through writing this record together has allowed us to just pull pieces in such a way that like the whole has come together for each song so uniquely and beautifully that it's, I think, very satisfying and exciting for us as artists.
Yeah, I think that's pretty amazing. And again, I think it's just really cool that, with having so many different hands in the kitchen, to make the recipes, the way that you guys are able to find this common ground of like, when we come here, every idea is a good one, even if it's a terrible one in the moment. Where we could clown on you about that tomorrow, about how that was a terrible idea, once we got inspired by what we did yesterday. So I think that's really cool, because I think a lot of times, like when it comes to artistic creativeness, a lot of times what holds people back is the fear of judgment from what other people might think. And like you did, Stefania, where when you're inspired in a moment, just pull your phone out and create the voice memo, and then you never know what it's going to become, and now you have a whole new song that we're talking about today, right? All just because you had one life experience, and now that means something more to other people. And it's like I said, when I listened to that song for the first time, you had your own thought process behind it, but that's what's great about it, is it made me think about it. But it was also the same kind of message I think that you were trying to convey, right? Where it's like, life is about the journey. It's not about sprinting to the end. Sometimes we can just take that slow little ride, you know what I mean, in the slow lane, and we'll get there just as fast, because that's where we're actually supposed to be. So to me, I like music that makes me just really feel anything in general. So whether it's just like happy, or it makes me like think about things. And I think what's cool about your guys' music is you never know what you're going to get, because you're going to get feelings, but you're also going to get thought-provoking material. So again, I think it all kind of comes together with you guys, where it's just like, that's what makes you guys, to me, I think, as such a different caliber of a band, is the fact that, like, there is a cohesion amongst you guys that is, I think, can be felt from the audience's perspective, especially like for someone like me who didn't know that much about you guys. You know what I mean? Cool. Where like I had heard, there's siblings in the band, where it's like, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, so sometimes it's just the worst idea possible. And then for you guys, it's like, it's like, I don't know how you guys would do it. It wouldn't make sense if I don't think if you guys weren't all involved with it.
The thing is, the fact that we grew up on similar kinds of music allows us to speak the same musical language, and allows us to have like a very democratic process of music. Because otherwise, if there were people like kind of bringing ideas in that were so off from the vision that we were trying to accomplish, it would be much messier, and it would take much longer to sort out the ideas. There's enough unity within the vision that we're bringing, and yet enough diversity that it becomes something that no one of us could have produced alone. So that's really the thing. And I think also with the filmmaking background that we have, because our side jobs, we do video production, sometimes for businesses and other clients. We all have kind of that visual storytelling element that we take when we create our own music videos. You can see that we're not only trying to tell a story through the song, but through the visuals. And also you will see, as we release more music and we finally release the album, that the album has kind of an emotional story arc, like a film should have. Like There is lots of different emotions, as you've noticed, from song to song, but you'll see as you kind of listen to the arc of the album that it takes you through a journey. And the whole journey of the album, we haven't talked about this super publicly yet, but it's essentially a cycle of life through death. And we kind of touched on those themes a little bit in Slow Lane, but that's kind of the arch of the whole album. The first song of the album is My Demands, which is the much more harder rocking song. And it's essentially about birth. It's essentially about coming to life. And honestly, a child is one of the most demanding creatures alive. And they require everything. But the weird thing is, even as entitled as they are, that entitlement is totally justified, because they are indeed in need of those things, as opposed to an adult who's asking for everything and may not need things. We thought that was an interesting contrast. So yeah, that's the first song in the album. It kind of takes us from a very selfish point of view, where a child is selfish, but justifiably so. And you'll see by the end of the album, it takes us to kind of like a selfless type of character development.
That sounds amazing. I'm really excited for this album to come out, for sure, because you got me really excited just from the fact that you said there was a concept behind it, right? So I talk a lot about this on my channel, where a lot of times you can tell the difference when it's just a handful of songs that are put together and we slap this together and we call this a project and we call this an album, and it's just it just sounds like a collection of songs. And a lot of times in those cases you're going to have a couple that you're like, all right, that's pretty cool, but you're never going to listen to the rest of them. So my personal favorite records, and I'm probably sure you guys are probably very similar, are the albums that you can put on and you put on track 1 and you listen to the whole thing. Even if like track 7 isn't your favorite song, you still want to listen to it in that succession of the rest of that story, right? So I feel like it's really exciting to hear you guys basically say that you're getting ready to come out with an album that is an entire concept, because I like to listen to music from start to finish and how does that whole thing make you feel. So I also really feel like it's a lost art kind of in today's music. So seeing you guys do something like that is very, very exciting, because I feel like so many people are just like, with the short attention span of a lot of people today, they're like, all right, let's just put out a bunch of 2-minute songs and people are going to like them or whatever. But it's art. It should be more than just throwing out 2-minute songs, in my opinion, right? Like there should be a lot more of a feeling and emotion behind the entire process. So obviously, we talked about this a lot today, where I feel you guys already are doing that. So to hear you guys even more say, hey, yeah, we took the time and effort to make sure that like, hey, this was a concept of like, hey, we had a whole thought behind what this thing was going to be, even if other people feel different things from that. And writing about those subjects, I think are going to be very relatable to people, which you guys already do, right? So I like the fact that you guys aren't super like, what's the word? Extra with the lyrical content, where it's like, what are they even trying to say in a moment where you know? So I feel like you guys
try to be poetic, and we try to not like just say the most cliche thing that comes to our head, but we also don't want to be so esoteric where like somebody has to like go through a dictionary and like read a bunch of articles to figure out what the heck we're saying. There are going to be a couple of songs that are a little bit more esoteric in the lyrics, but I think we will talk a little bit about the meaning and help people to decode the lyrics. But for the most part, I think the lyrics are accessible and something that people can get. But maybe a little bit of an analysis can take you to somewhere that's much deeper. We like lyrics that have a little bit of depth, where it's not just like, I got everything the first time I listened to it. The first time you listen to it, you should have the basic sense for the song. But every time you listen to it, it should get deeper and more interesting.
It's music that grows on you over time. That's the next magic, right? Is can I listen to this for years and years and years? Am I going to listen to these songs over and over and over again? Where is it just going to be like a flash in the pan in my mind? And I feel like that's what you guys are creating is these things that are kind of almost timeless, right? Where it's like, even if I listen to, Slow Lane 10 years from now, it's going to still sound really clean and real put together. It's not going to sound dated like, oh, this definitely sounds like it came from 1992. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have any of those kind of feelings to it. So again, I think, especially as you guys being a fully 100% independent act the way that you guys are, I think it's really impressive, because there's so much stuff to creating music that I think a lot of the general fans just don't understand. When it comes to just like you said, you had like 200 layers of mastering in one song. Some people have no idea what that means. I'm gonna tell the audience out there listening, that means that there's a lot of time and effort into these songs if there's 200 some layers in the editing process, because that means every little sound we can do something with it. And like I said, with the finished product that you guys put out, I think always just sounds really, really clean, and it sounds like you guys aren't independent. You know what I mean? It sounds like you guys have, people with like these, you guys have vast backgrounds, but you guys are all like, from pulling from your own experiences and gaining and learning this knowledge as you go. And I think it's just really cool to watch, because I've watched so many bands and talked to a few of them recently where they had no idea how to ever mix a song before, and then they're like, all right, we're going to be in a band, like I guess someone's going to learn how to mix it now. And so it sounds like you guys are kind of doing a lot of the similar things of pulling from your own backgrounds. If something new comes up, hey, one of us is going to figure this out. And so it's just really cool, because I would never guess that you guys were just fully independent this way. It sounds like Like there is some sort of like team behind some of that where you're shooting it off to some guy who's been doing this for 15 years to master it kind of thing. But
Well, that's the funny
I
thing.
am some guy that's been doing it.
See, that's the thing. That's how we started. We did start in that completely ignorant, way where you're just like watching YouTube videos and things. And
The first album we recorded on this dinky little iMac that would get so overheated in the processing that we had the Brussels sprouts, the frozen Brussels sprouts that we would pull out of the freezer, and the entire one bag we recorded this
used
entire
over and
album.
over.
Sometimes we would forget about the Brussels sprouts that were cooling the computer until they had warmed up so much that they had kind of like cooked, and then we were like, oh, what is that smell? Oh, it's the Brussels. Put them back in the freezer. But yeah,
And then we bring them out the next day to cool the computer.
this project started on GarageBand, 15 years ago. And it's been so many years of picking up pieces and learning. And like literally I somehow overnight pulled off some scholarship competition that got me a full ride scholarship to be able to get a degree in digital media, which was like perfect 1 part music production or audio production and 1 part film production. It's like my 2 greatest loves. And like I went to school so I could learn the technicals to support my artistry. This has been a lifelong pursuit. And now finally, 15 years after starting the band, we're finally at a point where we've gathered enough knowledge and information, and we have the right team and the right energy and the right friendships within the band that are allowing us to really put things out there that again suit our own artistic sensibilities and our own joy. Like even if this wasn't gaining any traction and people weren't consuming it at the level that they're starting to, I would still do it because I love it so much, and it enriches my life, and I love making music with my friends and my band. And it's so satisfying to see again after all these years it's gaining traction and people are connecting with it. And that really is, the only dreams that don't come true are the ones you give up on.
That's pretty beautiful. I like that you said that. It reminds me of like one of my favorite quotes because I'm a big hockey guy. I like I liked Wayne Gretzky growing up. Where I always think of that poster where it's like you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, and it's that same kind of mentality where it's like if you don't, the only dreams that are ever gonna die are the ones you give up on. You know what I mean? So. I think that's amazing. Where it's like even 15 years ago, when you're probably much younger with much younger siblings who didn't want anything to do with a band. You know what I mean? Like didn't have this is what wasn't what they thought they were going to do, and to see where it's come today, I think is just really cool because like just seeing even this excitement from Sebastian today, being the guy who potentially didn't want to even do this at one point in time. He was just helping his sister out in a moment, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty awesome to see where you guys have come, even through like finding different like members of the band and all that. And I think like if anything, like the right people are going to come over time, right? And so it seems like you guys are really happy with the current lineup and the way that everything is flowing with the band the way it is today. That's just really exciting to hear because you can see the passion in your guys' faces when you guys are talking about this stuff, and I feel like that's what separates so many other artists from some people who are like, oh yeah, well I just like to create it, but they almost don't feel passionate about it. You know what I mean? Where I could really sense that from you guys, where you guys really enjoy what you guys do in creating all this around Shrink the Giant.
Well, I think the thing that keeps the passion alive is the connection. Because I was talking to a couple friends recently, being an artist can feel like being in an abusive relationship. Like your need to create and then like what you give, and then there's no returns,
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's all about your expectations. And again, when you're creating from a place of generosity, which I feel like that's what we've been able to cultivate as a band today. We're always creating from this space of like offering, what can I give to this? Whether it's what can I give to the song, or how can I support my band members, or like how are we as a band offering something to the audience that we're performing for, or like the crew that's helping us on our music video, or like our last music video shoot. We had all these incredible dancers and skaters show up. These, like, the collective talent in that room was absolutely insane. And, you know, we're an independent band. Nobody was getting paid. We were staying up all night at this skating rink and
I've
working.
never gone to bed
hard
so
and
late.
burning hot. When we wrapped and finished, nobody was like, all right, I'm out of here. Everybody hung out in the parking lot afterwards. And I think that's a testament to the space that, again, we're really committed to creating within ourselves, our group, our inner circle, our outer circle, and with the fans. You know, this is a space of giving and offering and like making things that satisfy us, and also like having fun. Morgan said this to me earlier. It's also just about like making bops, like making fun music that we love, and it creates an environment where everybody feels allowed to, I don't know, just like show up, be themselves, have a great time. Like, we're community building. And yeah, we want everybody to feel included in Shrink the Giant.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's again, it just translates to everything that you guys are doing, where it's like you were saying, like, you know, when you're doing something that you love and you're passionate about, it's never really going to feel like work. So no matter how late we're staying up, no matter how much we're not getting paid for this, it's like you're excited to be there. Nobody wanted to leave. We stayed in the parking lot afterwards talking about everything we just went through for the last 24 hours or whatever. And so I feel like that really like just shows the difference, right? And it just made me think a lot about how I watch so many artists and so many bands like, create content where you could just tell this is just them going up to make the content for the day because they're supposed to make the content for the day and they're supposed to post it. And that's one thing I love about you guys is like when I see your name pop up, I see a reel, I see anything to do with you guys, it feels like this is what they wanted to do. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, we got to make a post today, so let's just go ahead and create something. You know what I mean? It's like, again, talking about that stupid Taco Bell video that you guys with the drummer. Like I said, I love that so much. It made me laugh. It was like, oh, it's a little behind the scenes. And it's like, oh, this is really the band. You get to hear their personality. You get to hear them joke. And you get to just actually see a little bit behind the scenes, if you will, and it feels very organic and natural. So I would definitely could say continue to keep doing what you guys are doing, guys, because for sure, like as far as like the fans' perspective, like I feel every single part of that, where it seems like you guys are just doing what you want to do, you're creating what you want to create, you're happy in doing it, and all of that is what creates that community. Because like I said, it makes people like myself want to be a part of it, right? Because it's like you guys are doing something. It's like how do I just get a little bit of my foot into the door by just even listening to your guys' music that way. You know what I mean? It makes you feel a part of something bigger than yourself.
Cool. You are a part of it. I mean, I can't tell you how much it touched us to see your review of TikTok. Like, that was our song TikTok. When that just popped up on your feed and you watched that music video, and to watch the reaction to that for the first time was just like, that was just so exciting for us to see your reaction, your response. And I want to commend you on the community that you've built, because every time I hop into one of your live streams, I'm just so impressed with, the folks that you have around you. And it makes me feel like I'm part of your community, and we're all in this together. And I'm really impressed with you and your people. And I'm just really grateful that we can all be here connecting over music and connecting over artistry and like supporting each other in all of this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of those things where when I first started my channel, I didn't really know what I wanted, how I was going to go. Really, I didn't really know what I was going to do or how I was going to go about it. But a lot of it just had happened very organically, and all of that really just has to do with the Foxtrot family. So like they're, once they I would have never heard of you guys if it wasn't for somebody, a member of my community, right? And so they're like, hey, I found these guys yesterday, my algorithm, whatever, you should check them out. And then like, here we are today, right? So it's like, it's just amazing how one person can make such a big impact. And that's what's so really cool about the Foxtrot family is it's not always me finding people. It's sometimes it's somebody else that finds it. And the way that you're able to connect with that, it's again, it's just bigger than ourselves, right? Where, I think music is one of the very few art forms that really brings people together from all kinds of different backgrounds, no matter really what it is, and there's this place where we can find some common ground in something, and this place called life, you know what I mean, on Earth, where it's pretty magical. It's pretty magical. So yeah, I definitely want to say thank you for that, because like I said, it's really all about my community, and you know, that's why I do what I do every day, is because they keep me moving, they keep me going. So Morgan, my question for you, friend, is not being a sibling of the band, who gets the brunt of it the most in the band? Who is the one who gets ragged on the most for being outside of the sibling circle?
No, nobody. Everyone is very, very, very. People are very welcoming, and it's not intentional. It's like they're just naturally they see Alec and I as members of the band family, and that's even with Jean-Marc, the manager, who's the dad, and then also the mom, Ali, behind the scenes, but she does a lot of other stuff involving the band. I've always felt like a member of the band.
Yeah,
The family.
I was gonna say, it probably feels a little alienated. You'd probably feel a little alienated if you didn't get joked on or teased a little bit, right? Because that's a little bit part of the dynamic, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. But I was gonna say that earlier. I think that's a really an important ingredient of what has made the band what it is in a positive way, is that because they're siblings, everyone's very comfortable getting heated in arguments and being able to state their side, and there's no hurt feelings. And it's just like it when you can't say that you don't like something, or you can't say that you can't stand up for like what you want, then then things don't get represented. And I feel like it allows there to be a culture where it's a healthier culture where people are comfortable disagreeing, and it's more like about information rather than egos.
Yeah, you guys keep bringing back that whole thing about egos, where it's like, as much as you guys have a lot of fun with each other, there's a lot of love behind it all too, right? And you could definitely feel that. So, I'm one of those people, especially being, a veteran, teasing and joking on each other is very much like a love language. So especially amongst people, especially amongst siblings, right? Like my best friend, we call each other brothers, but man, we tease on each other all day long, because that's just part of our love language, right? So like you said,
if anybody's left out in the band, it would be Alec, but not for any reason other than there's the band 4 non-blondes, but we have 4 blondes and 1 non-blonde, so just purely for that reason, he's kind of he gets the brunt of it. He can't speak for himself here, but
there's so much blonde in your guys' band, it would be hard. If you guys told me you guys were all related, I would believe it. You know what I mean? Because like Morgan, you look like you could be just another sibling as well.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things where I even had an idea who was related to each other, because you guys all look of a similar, stature this way.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that is funny. I haven't thought about it a lot, but when we were recording Slow Lane, Stefania said something. I can't remember what Stefania said, but it was something that sounded very harsh. But it was an inside joke, and her mom was like, "You need to be more nice to Morgan." But it was like, to us, it was really funny. Do you remember that, Stefania?
Oh, for you, it was trauma. For me, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah. But it didn't feel harsh. But I can see from the outside why it would. It was something like that. Whatever you're feeling, that's you, not me. Like if you took offense to that, something like that.
I take no responsibility here. No, I mean, for full transparency, for sure. Like having siblings in the band, our dynamic can. I don't know. I'm getting spicy. Definitely spice. We were talking about spice earlier. The joke now, because of the Slow Lane music video, again, that was just us and our parents.
For 2 days and like lack of sleep.
Yeah, lack of sleep, getting sunburned, literally trading off who was operating camera. I'm like holding a camera on a gimbal wearing high heels in the mountains, running through the Rocky Mountains. Crazy stuff.
We have videos.
We have behind the scenes on that.
We have videos of Alec in his Grim Reaper outfit, like operating a camera. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Ridiculous. But the joke now is something Sebastian said, because we were all heated trying to figure out this shot. And, you know, usually you set the stage before you get into it and you say, and action.
But there was just no time.
There was no time for that. Sebastian got the shot and he was like, start acting.
And so now that's our new action. We just say that all the time now. It's just
Start
acting.
But it gives us a shorthand. Again, someday Morgan will teach us bars how to be more polite. And hopefully he becomes more rude like us. So somewhere in the middle.
It's a bluntness with love behind it, though.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's from Philadelphia and my mom's from New Jersey. We got Italian family.
Okay,
We've
yeah.
got Scottish. We've got French. Like that's just.
It's an explosive combination of personalities.
We
They're
got a lot of
direct.
opinions and we're very loud.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I live very close to Philadelphia, and I'm very
you're in
familiar
Baltimore,
with Jersey. Yeah, and the Northeast is definitely different, and I think a lot of people take people from the Northeast a little wrong. Like I said, like, you know, going back to what you were mentioning about mom and dad, whereas people from those places tend to be a lot more blunt and direct. Where it's not so much that they're being mean, they're just a lot more direct. You know what I mean?
West Coast culture is polite culture. You know, sometimes to the detriment of like there's a balance, right? I think there's a good aspect of being polite and trying to be courteous to others, but also it shouldn't come at the expense, like especially in a creative endeavor. If like you don't think an idea is working, you need to voice it, you know, because that will hurt the ultimate creative product. So I think we're still navigating that, and we're trying to find a balance between bluntness and honesty, and also make sure like there's always a politeness and a love expressed amongst each other. That's always kind of the goal. We're trying to serve the song and trying to make also our relationships better, and that's the dynamic, you know.
And frankly, that's what so many of the songs are about. Communication is a very obvious theme that we've been playing with in these recent songs. Like it's just an explosive game, as it says in TikTok. Communication is an explosive game, but you got to do it. If you don't, it'll explode. If you do, it'll explode in control.
Yeah, I always say West Coast is nice but not kind. East Coast is kind but not nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Shrink the Giant would like to be both nice and kind, but sometimes we're neither.
Well, I think you guys' music is very nice and kind, you know?
No, we're trying. We're doing a good job, I think.
No, I think you guys are doing a great job for sure.
Start acting.
I love that. I love that so much. So, if you guys can't say, that's totally okay. But do you guys have any kind of time frame or a roundabout time frame when you guys are wanting to hopefully release the album that you guys mentioned earlier?
We do not know for certain. We haven't nailed that down yet.
I think 2 or 3 more singles, though.
Yeah. A few more singles we want to release, and
it's a 16-song album, so we want to release a lot of singles beforehand, because once you just drop it all, it's kind of done. The news cycle is over, and it's hard to kind of generate buzz. We live very much in a singles release world right now, especially because like with Spotify, you can only submit 1 song per release to the playlist considerations, and to get a boost in the Spotify algorithm. So there is a lot of marketing wisdom in releasing singles at a time. So we are trying to release about half the album as singles beforehand, but then we'll drop the album and probably do some post-release music videos as well.
But it's not just marketing based, you know. I would argue there's also a really important, I think, character and storytelling choice. Maybe that's me justifying it because I hate having to sell. But I feel like with each single, like building the world around each single, the stories, the characters, the energy, the color palettes, even, you know, I really enjoy world building. And so by releasing each single and letting each single kind of have its moment, I feel like it's helping tell the greater story of the album by giving these like really rich perspectives of each song, so that when the full record does release, you know, audience members can draw from all these little pieces and remember back and think back to the singles and the world building and see how it all ties together at the end, even though, you know, our first single was like an insane asylum vibe, and our second one was like, you know, just classic rock and roll grunge energy in a big garage full of cars, and then, you know, we're just going all over the place, but there is a through line. And in some ways that's really fun too, because we're drawing from all these different things and then we're going to show how they all relate, which is really joyful and serves the almighty algorithms of our day.
Right. We had to serve and feed those algorithms, and they're all different, right? You talked about the Spotify algorithm, and that's just like another factor of like, hey, it's just another platform of another sort of algorithm where you got to play by certain rules to try to get certain exposure. So my question that I had thought about that was, with your guys' background that you guys have, where it's a ton of stuff like in film editing, video making, like movie making, music, obviously, like, did anybody really kind of have any kind of like marketing kind of strategy background, or really anything to pull from?
I did a marketing degree. So that being said, I've mostly worked in video, but I mean, if you work on any of the social media platforms, you know, any Instagram, YouTube, anything like that, those are marketing platforms. You know, if they are advertising, they are advertising platforms first and foremost. And so if you make video, you have to understand how those algorithms work.
I think like we've spent a lot of time with YouTube in our work, and learning about YouTube. I think it's just, I've always loved YouTube. It's a great place. They give you such great analytics. It's a fun place to learn and to share things with the world. So yeah, that's kind of been the brunt of our marketing thoughts. It started kind of with YouTube and like the nitty gritty of how we actually play with marketing. And then of course you just have to learn every single platform.
Right. Yeah. That's the next step, right? Is like, you know, you learn one thing and then you got to learn the next platform and how to even just to apply to that platform, where I think a lot of people take kind of like the same approaches to each one, which probably is not probably correct. But I feel like there's so much to learn.
TikTok.
And then you have to also muster up the motivation to use every platform, because you might know more than you care to do on each one. And sometimes you just have to focus your energies in different places.
And this is all on being an independent band, you know, like the dream, I think, for all of us would be able to just spend more time focusing on the music and playing music more. Like, we haven't played a single show this year, have we? Because we're just so focused on these releases and everything, and it just takes so much time to do it all. But it's also, you know, by design. We know that if we release all this music, kind of give a platform for people to land on, next year we'd love to be playing a lot more shows. So that, you know, when people see us live, they can go online and see the world that we've already built and see that, oh, this is something, like, we can really connect with these people. So it's interesting. And I think this is where, again, speaking to like the dreams that don't come true, the ones that you give up on, where like, I think artists don't want to learn this side of things. Artists, the rock and roll lifestyle, you want to just be able to be free and party and express, and like, we're here to make music, and you just show up as the artist and everybody else is taking care of the logistics for you. But that, in our modern world, you have to be an entrepreneur as well as a musician, and you have to understand that all of these pieces, it is a business, right? And if you want to make money doing it, if you'd like to be able to make it your full-time job, you do have to be able to monetize it. But then we're like, monetization of art, so to balance those things, I think that's where I come back to generosity. And, you know, it's a value exchange where what we're offering people, I feel like it brings so much value to me that I can, in good faith, hope that those who connect with it also feel like it has great value. And when value is offered, value is received. And I hope that, you know, we're just going to build this cycle. We're going to build this world, this community, and then hopefully build the support team as well that helps us really take things to the next level, so that when we punch in, we're not looking at YouTube analytics, and instead we're just writing songs. somewhere down the line.
Well, I definitely think that you guys are well on your way to getting there, right? Because from just talking to you guys today, you guys are all very incredibly smart. You obviously think about things from every angle and every aspect, and like you even mentioned when you mentioned about how like so many people can kind of get blinders on of like, oh, I'm gonna be a rock star, you know what I mean? And like this is what that looks like, right? And we talked about that a little bit earlier, where there's so much more to being in a band or being a musician than just creating music and just getting on stages and playing it. It's so much more than that. That is just like the smallest fraction of what any artist has to deal with. Because like you said, at the end of the day, this is a business, and when you're trying to sell something to people, because it's like, why would you come even listen to us when there's another band out here doing similar things, right? And so I think you guys are really well on your way with that concept of like, once we get out there and we're putting the faces and the music in front of live people this way, we've already kind of created a world for them to kind of fall back onto of like, oh, this is what I was missing out on. Now I can kind of get caught back up on it, right? So, like you said, you guys have been making music for a long time now. You guys are getting ready to put out a new project, hopefully sometime soon. Releasing some new singles, some new music videos, and all that over the last couple of years. I feel like we have a lot of the good building blocks of the future for Shrink the Giant. So I'm very excited to see what you guys are going to be doing in the future. I'm really excited for this new album. And, if you guys started announcing some new live shows, I might have to try to make my way out to the West Coast, because I know obviously touring is a whole nother thing, right? Where it's like you guys get out there playing some local live shows and like, something close to where you guys are at within a few hours and whatnot. That's awesome. I'll make the trip out there. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, our grandma actually lives pretty close to you. So we've got family on the East Coast. So maybe
awesome.
Maybe we'll be able to make our way out there and do the tour, the West Coast tour, East Coast tour. It's all, everything. We've got the vision, but for right now, we have to keep making TikToks and
all part of the grind, right? All part of that grind.
We're preparing the digital party and making sure that no matter what we do in the future, I mean, we've played a lot of shows in the past. When you play a show, though, when the cymbals stop ringing, what do people remember? And if you can prepare the digital party for people to come to later on, then they can get a vision for who you are. And every show, every live experience that we have in the future will hopefully be more useful to people because we'll be able to show them more of who we are. They'll be able to understand that more.
They can spend time with us in their spare time.
Yeah.
On the platforms.
Because my experience with all the bands I love the most is I get on YouTube and I just watch everything. I watch them live. I watch their music videos, and often I'll do that for years before I go to a show.
Yeah, I think it's very holistic the way that we're approaching this. Again, thinking in terms of community building, relationship building. Right now, we're creating a home for people to land on, so that as we reach out there and continue building this community and this family that is Shrink the Giant, people feel like we have a relationship and they can rely on us to offer them something, and then they offer us something back, and it's very contributive back and forth. So, yeah. And we're having a really good time doing it. And I think that's the most important part. We're driving in the slow lane, man. We're enjoying the journey. We're enjoying the sunset. We're telling each other to start acting all along the way.
That being said, there are moments, of course there are moments where like, this is so much. Stefania said something that was really funny in the middle of our filming of the slow lane process and the finishing of the Idiots video, post-production. She said something like, I've never been paid so little to, no, I've never paid so much to do so much work.
Yeah, I've never been paid so little to work so hard. Wait, no, I've never paid so much to work so hard.
Right.
And also, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, this is what I want to be doing.
I think that really shines through a lot with what you guys do. Where like I could just hear so much passion in your guys' voices, so much excitement from each one of you guys when it comes to just talking about what we're doing with the band, where we've been, where we're going. It's very exciting. Like I feel like you guys are very electric this way, and I would imagine that like that's where you're probably getting a lot of other fans within the community are probably people who probably feel the exact same way as me, where it's just like wow, like you just got to be a part of this because like there's just something different about you guys. You guys just have like this electricity to you, and like it's just very magnetic. So it's very fun, especially since you guys make this like uplifting, happy music, right? Where it's more about kind of togetherness, and like you said, a lot of your songs are about communication, and it's not about necessarily like the worst parts of life. So it just feels like a different vibe when you like put on Shrink the Giant's music or just dive into that world. So
wait for the second half of the album.
I can't wait, y'all. I can't wait. Like I said, I when you guys write this such good songs about all the happy vibes, I can't wait till you guys get a little bit more introspective and start talking about death. You know what I mean?
There's a life and death arc to the album. There are going to be some death songs in the album. So.
I think people will be very surprised by some of the things that are taken out.
We mentioned that earlier about how like they're really, you can't really kind of put you guys into a box, right? Because they're, you can call your genre whatever you guys do, you can call it whatever, but like it's going to be whatever you guys create. To me, I hate putting the idea of like genres on or like labels on bands and what their sounds are, because it seems unfair.
We talked about this a little bit today, how we should best communicate what our music is. We think it lives in the alternative rock world. That's where we think it lives, but there's a lot of space to play in alternative rock, and we play in that space. And we think basically our music is all about creativity over tribalism. Like, because sometimes music genres can get very tribalistic, and we're like, no, this is about the universal human experience. And we want to play from a lot of the sources of music that humanity has created. And yes, it does live somewhat in an alternative rock world, but nonetheless, we are not afraid to throw inspirations from music all around the world through different time periods. And that's kind of what our music is. It's creativity over tribalism. It's eclectic, and it's trying to embrace the human experience.
Very well said, my friend. Very well said.
Yeah. We don't just play music, we play with music. Like, and you should be able to do that. And I think people do that more and more often. You see that like TikTok is resurrecting old songs from random eras all over the place because people like them. And it's not like they're out of date or anything. And if you play music, you can play anything you want.
Yeah.
It's about the creativity that's the fun part, rather than we are going to be this band.
Yeah, because it almost sounds like you guys kind of come at it from this perspective of almost like garage band, if you will, perspective, where it's like, okay, Morgan might be over here and he's kind of messing with the riff, and then like you said, one of you might pick up a violin or something and be like, let's just see what happens, and then like, hey, let's go ahead and make that a section, you know what I mean? So again, like you're saying, it's kind of like you're playing along with the music versus like, all right, let's do XYZ and create X kind of song kind of thing. It's just you're letting the music speak for itself and kind of like carry you to where it needs to be. And you guys have been talking about this the entire day today, so I feel like you guys are all really on that same page. And like I said, it only just translates that much more with each one of you bringing out the same message from different perspectives. You know what I mean? So it just shows how much in line and in tune you guys are as a unit in terms of like, this is Shrink the Giant, this is our vision, this is what we want to create, and this is how we're moving forward. And it's just really, really cool and exciting to see you guys just be so locked in and on the same page about things.
Thanks, dude.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
we can't
I
wait
also
for more.
feel like discovery and curiosity are like really big themes of Shrink the Giant. And I was thinking a lot kind of over this last summer, just in terms of like, I don't know, legacy. For some reason, I'm like having a real memento mori moment, like, wow, I'm going to die someday. And death has never been a huge focus of mine. I feel like when you're younger, in some ways, we feel a little more impervious and anything's possible and life feels very long. And I've thought a lot about, what's my legacy? What's my message? Who am I? If I'm coming from a generous perspective in the way I approach my life, what am I offering people? What are people taking away from me? And I want to live my life in such a way that by my example, because of my own commitment to it, other people feel emboldened to commit themselves to discovery, to curiosity, to being a lifelong student, being lifelong learners. I feel like when you're in a space of curiosity, that's actually what cultivates our lack of ego that we've talked about so often here. You can't have an ego, you can't be selfish, and I think you also cannot be too hard on yourself or critical when you're in a space of discovery. So it kind of cures both sides of the ego coin, which is either pride or insecurity, because it's not actually about you. It's about discovery. It's about learning. It's about taking things in. And I feel like when we live in that space of curiosity and wonder, we create better art. We create better relationships. We create better communities. We can learn from each other in such a way that, I don't know, it just allows all of us to be, frankly, more childlike, which I think we could all use more. Children are not born racist. Children are not born being mean or unkind to each other. Little kids from all walks of life can get along and play. And I think adults, if we tap into that part of ourselves, we'll get along better as a society. So, wow, that's very highbrow. But ultimately, it's living in that space of curiosity and wonder that helps us make music. That helps us be who we are. It helps us, create that energy that I think people are tapping into, that is Shrink the Giant. And again, I hope that anybody who engages with us can feel empowered to live in that same way for themselves. There's room for all of us. And I want everyone to feel like they are allowed to stay curious. And just we're in this. We're in this together.
You guys have just hit me with nothing but just a bunch of profound statements today, so I definitely give you guys some credit for that. I was like, I don't even know how to respond to some of these comments sometimes.
Yeah, deep.
But yeah, it's incredibly deep. But I think it's also really wonderful and magnificent, because I completely agree on that perspective. Like when you talk about being in this constant state of wonder and learning and being in this position of accepting that, if you will, where I feel like a lot of times, like you said, as adults, we get to these points where we think we got everything figured out. We think we know everything. We've seen enough of the world. We've had enough experiences that we're all right. And I think unfortunately a lot of people stop learning and growing. And it's been one of the things that has been very important in my life is this constant state of trying to be better than the day that we were yesterday. And I think it's kind of in that same kind of process of what you were talking about, of being in this kind of state where you're putting your ego aside and understanding that there's always something more to learn. There's always something more for you to gain knowledge on, or just understanding, or even just about a subject or about yourself, right? So I think that kind of ties into that all together, where when you're creating art the way that you guys are, from this place of again, putting that ego aside, where it's not about you, it's about something bigger than yourself. I think all that really just shines through with what you guys are doing. Like I said, you guys have been extremely consistent with a lot of the messaging, and it doesn't even feel like it's on purpose. It's just simply what you guys just talk about,
Nope. Yeah. We didn't coordinate and be like, okay, what's our message, guys?
Yeah, our PR agent didn't.
You guys, as an independent label, you guys are really on board with the PR stunts. You know what I'm saying? This is our message. This is how we're going forward. We got to make sure we convey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if we had a PR agent, we wouldn't have onions in the background of the boys.
I like onions. Yeah, they make every dish a little bit better. It's on brand for me. It's on brand.
Yeah, it actually is. That is John Christian's brand. John Christian's quite a chef, and he puts so many onions in everything, which
onions,
I'm not
garlic, I go nuts on the seasoning. You
Goes
know,
crazy on
the stereotype of white people don't add seasoning to their food does not apply to me.
Nothing but spicy chicken coming from you, my friend.
It's
Nothing but spicy chicken. Love
spicy
it.
chicken, and then Alec brings the Taco Bell nacho cheese. So again,
Exactly.
full circle. We've rounded it all out.
We can speak to all walks of life, all palates.
Well, I definitely want to appreciate you guys for spending some time with me today. If you guys don't mind, I wouldn't mind asking you guys a silly question, maybe that we can kind of answer on the way out the door. And I'll tell you something about myself while I ask this question. So, you mentioned about the onions and all that. It just made me think about, like, you know, is there something that makes, as you as an individual, like, what is like the one thing that makes you kind of stand out as like, this is like my thing that makes me unique? And I'll tell you what mine is off the bat. I'm not lactose intolerant, but I hate all flavors of cheese. I do not like cheese at all. I can't do it. Like it blows people's mind. They're like, how could you not like cheese? You don't eat cheese, you know what I mean? I'm like, nope, I don't like cheese. But it has nothing to do with lactose intolerance. It just has everything to do with taste. And that's like my weird thing, right? Is I hate cheese.
Wow, that is a unique thing.
That is unique. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that hates cheese.
That
That's
takes
what I'm saying.
the
It's
cake on cheese, honestly.
It blows people's minds. It blows people's minds.
We're gonna do a cheese dedicated concert just for you when we go out there.
I mean, he doesn't like cheese, is what he's saying.
Yeah, no, it would be a cheese tease. It would be a big old tease based on the cheese.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, something unique. Morgan, I feel like you should go first on this.
You put him on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really just deferring her own judgment.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, you're just you don't have something yet, Stefania, and so you're trying to push. That's what it
Don't
is.
call me out like that.
No, I can tell you that okay, this is not super interesting, but for musicians, this would be interesting to people who play guitar. One thing that's interesting about me is I really like, a lot of guitars look nice with silver pickups, and I really like black pickups. So all my guitars end up with black pickups. That's me.
That's pretty fire.
I just like the look of it.
I love that. Morgan's our resident gear nerd.
I also really like your shirt there, bud, because I'm pretty sure that that's an Into the AM shirt, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you like them too. Yeah, they're so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, love that company, man. I recognize the design, so you got good taste over there, my friend.
Thanks. No, thanks. Yeah, that's one of the advantages of living in this time in history where, like, even growing up, like, t-shirts never were fit right, and now everyone's very aware of like how to make them look good. So it's like a golden age of t-shirts.
Right. Oh
I
my
think
god.
that's your unique statement, Morgan.
That is your hot take of the day, is that t-shirts are at an all-time high in designs right now.
and fit. Designs and fit.
True. Because yeah, because obviously you brought this up because I remember being a kid when you like buy like, oh, I wear a large shirt, and you buy the large and you're like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't fit like all my other shirts do, you know?
Well, it's like, as a kid, I missed this. A lot of adults didn't care what they looked like. There were so many bad looking adults that just looked horrible, and they didn't care. Now everybody is handsome and beautiful. Now everyone's stylish, and it's kind of stressful.
The world is more beautiful today than it was when we were younger. I like that hot take too. That's an excellent hot take, Morgan.
Everybody used to smoke cigarettes. Everybody was a little more shriveled. There was a lot more, I think, cigarette smoke.
Just a lot less self-aware. People didn't. And every once in a while, I'll see someone that dresses like that, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you look bad.
I bet you they eat a Taco
The
Bell.
pressure's off. The pressure's off for all of us.
I still don't have anything, so my brothers have to go.
Oh man, I completely stunned you guys on that cheese thing,
have
man.
to come up with. Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty hard to top that, honestly.
Yeah. I guess
You raised the bar.
I guess I could jump off the onion thing in the back. Honestly, there are very few dishes I will cook without onions and garlic. I guess that's one thing about me. I would have a hard time Like I met a girl once who said she didn't like onions, and I'm like, I don't think I could ever have a relationship with somebody who didn't.
It's like a
like
Jerry
onions.
Seinfeld moment. I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm with you, my guy. I'm with you because I also heavily love onions. I heavily love
Yep.
it's since you guys have some Philadelphia roots, I would imagine that you guys know what a proper cheesesteak probably really looks like and tastes like. I don't know if you guys do with onions or not, but I'm sure you guys have seen.
I think it's got to be better with onions.
That
It's better
scoop
with
of onions they put on there. Oh my god,
you
it's
have
like
the
6
option-
onions on one sandwich. Like,
That
Likewise,
sounds right.
a Chicago
my
dog
kinda
is
sandwich.
the only proper hot dog to me because of the onions.
yes.
You gotta have the onions.
See, we have more in common today than we even realize, guys. You know what I mean?
And that's
We
what
had more in
music is all
common today than we
about.
even
It's like
realized.
bringing people together. It's like music and onions. That's frankly like the two facets of Shrink the Giant.
Yeah.
I did want to say real quick, Johnny. You said you're in Baltimore.
I actually live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which
Oh,
is
Lancaster.
Okay.
yeah. So I live. Oh, you said it right, bro. You said it right. I said it like the foreigner. I say it wrong on purpose because I'm not from here. I'm not from here. So
Yeah.
I say it wrong on purpose just to make people upset. I don't call it Lancaster. I call it Lancaster. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
but yeah, I live in Lancaster, so I live about an hour from Philly. I live about an hour from Baltimore.
Okay. No, I used to live there. Lived in Baltimore. We went to Lancaster to see the Amish people, but then I lived in Pittsburgh. But we said we were from Baltimore. I was going to tell you to live in Baltimore and then reminisce about Baltimore. But Lancaster's cool too.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even realize that you was from this area like that. So, what were you born around here, or you just lived out here from a point in time?
No, I'm from Texas, but I lived in Maryland for several years, and then we lived in Baltimore, and then Mount Airy for a few. Well, I didn't live in Baltimore, I lived in Mount Airy, and then in Pittsburgh for a few years, and then sometimes visit the Amish towns like Lancaster and Intercourse.
Mm.
Have you
Right.
been to Intercourse?
Intercourse, Blue Ball, Bird in Hand, all of the fun names. They're all in the same area too. I don't know what the deal is with with Lancaster County this way, but yeah, all of the innuendo names are all like in the same little general area. Those Amish people, man, they could be getting down. They be getting down out there.
They do. I
They
know.
be getting down.
It's just funny that it's
Amish
Amish
have a lot of
country.
children.
Okay, so we can go back to the funny things, the unique things.
Sebastian, you're up.
Well, I think we touched on this. I don't know if the camera's rolling before, but I really can't grow facial hair whatsoever, which I'm sure is no surprise if you've ever looked at my face. But I tried a mustache the other day. I was like, maybe I'll go a couple days just to see, like, okay, what's going on? Is this something I could like look into in a couple years? And this side was just a little thicker than this one. And I was like, not the time, shave. And sometimes I don't. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, a mustache goes either one way or another. It's two very opposite ends of a spectrum. You either can take someone. They're either extremely serious if with a mustache, or they
Cannot be
taken seriously at all.
That is one of my favorite hot takes of the day. Is like you can either take everything from this person, or they'll take everything from you.
Yeah. So facial hair, not my thing. Maybe one day, maybe one day. That's the best I can think of. Anyone else?
Stefania's the last one.
Yeah,
so.
I'm the last one. Frankly, I don't know my own name right now. Somebody puts you on the spot. Tell me something interesting about yourself. I'm like, I don't even know who I am. I don't know what, but I will say, jumping off the food thing, and frankly, I think this is probably the least interesting thing anybody has said, is perhaps it's genetic, because we were born and raised in Utah. Our parents had moved out here, but dad's from Philly, mom's from New Jersey. I think it's a genetic predisposition to bagels, because I'm like a huge bagel person. Like, that is, if I were to have one thing that like I gotta have for breakfast every day, it's a bagel. And I would call myself a bagel connoisseur. It's really difficult to find good bagels in Utah because our climate is so dry. And I think there's something about the humidity. Like, I mean, New York is where you get the best bagel. and we just have such a dry climate here that like people just don't know how to get it right. So there's like 2 places in Salt Lake City that I will allow myself to indulge in a good bagel. But yeah, I'm a big bagel guy. Big bagel guy over here.
I used to work at a bagel place. She called herself a bagel babe.
I was the bagel babe.
She was
Yeah,
a bagel babe.
Bagel babe.
I was the bagel babe. It was actually a character. It was just a bit for me. As a musician, sometimes I have no routine or structure in my life. And as a filmmaker and a freelancer and an actor, you know, I've never had a real job. I'm a gig worker. And there was one point that I was like, I need a little structure in my life. So I was like, what do? I was like, something that gets me out of bed in the morning. I'm like, bagels. Bagels get me out of bed in the morning. So I worked at a bagel place for about 2.5, 3 months, and
Just to have a schedule.
yeah, just so that I had an excuse to like get up in the morning and, you know, go work like a 4-hour shift at the bagel factory. And yeah, as soon as the bit was up, as soon as there was no more dopamine left from that, I was like, all right, I'm good. But yeah, big bagel person over here.
That's too bad that you don't do it anymore, because that's what I actually have you listed under and in my phone is Bagel Babe.
I'm the bagel babe.
That was the era. That was the era.
Yeah, if I ever had a solo project, I would probably call it Bagel Babe. And it would be a bagel themed band. And it would probably be a cover band. So you know, I would do like popular songs like Creep, but just like bagel thing. You're so bagel special. Bagel. You know, just the worst.
Just
worst
bad.
version.
Just
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Like we were saying earlier, it's always a struggle for us not to just become a comedy band. We're on a knife's edge from falling off
I can
the
tell.
serious music wagon.
Didn't Macaulay Culkin, or was it Michael Cera, put
No,
out?
it was Macaulay Culkin.
It was Macaulay Culkin put out a pizza-themed Velvet Underground cover band, and I aspire to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I think that the next time that I reach out to your guys' management team to maybe sit down and have a conversation with you, I'm going to ask to speak with the Bagel Babe and the Bagel Boys. Like, you know what I mean?
Perfect. We expect no less. We won't
Shrink-
respond to anything else.
Yeah.
Shrink the Giant may not even be the band name in about 6 months.
Yeah, it's a working name.
Bagel the
Big
bagel.
and boys.
Well, again, I want to thank you guys again for spending this time with me today. It's been a really great pleasure of mine to be able to get to know you guys all and have this conversation with you guys today. And if anything, you know, you guys have always solidified my fandom of Shrink the Giant that much more today. So I'm gonna be screaming from the mountaintops for you guys for sure.
It's been great to meet you
Yeah.
too.
Thank you for
Thanks,
the.
Johnny. You're amazing. And again, I want to commend you on your community that you've built, and thank everybody that's part of the Foxtrot family. And you know, the person that made that introduction happen. I just think everybody that's a part of Foxtrot fam is so impressive, and I just love seeing people that are like living in a space of music discovery. And thank you for being the head of that, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your world, and hopefully your world a part of ours. So thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you all so much again. You know, and if you guys are listening out there right now, you already know what to do. You need to make sure that you go tell Shrink the Giant how much you fuck with their music. You know what I'm saying? Do the right thing. Follow them on all the social media platforms, and you know, all the links in the description already. So do the right thing. Again, thank you guys so much for hanging out.